Hello, hello. And I have a thought for the day. And this thought comes from Radical Optimism by Beatrice Bruteau. Okay, it's a little thin book, but it's pretty powerful. So it begins. There's a story about an ancient Greek legislator who stood up to address a meeting of the city fathers. The assembly was debating the passing of a resolution concerned with pushing a vassal city-state that failed to pay tribute. The issue was whether they should send the army out and kill them all. When our man took the floor, he said, "For thousands of years, people have been trying to find ways of preventing crime. And what do? They keep increasing the severity of the punishment on the supposition that this will deter the criminal. But it doesn't work. You've got to find out what is causing the criminal to act. One thing I know, as long as people are poor, hungry, and oppressed, they will continue to do what they feel they have to do to stay alive. And all your threatened punishments are not going to deter them." Punishment and threat of punishment, even eternal punishment, are not an adequate response to evil. And neither, in my view, is the meditation on the mystery of the evil, how strange it is, why God tolerates it, how incomprehensible it is, how it is an ineradicable part of our nature, or whatever it is that religious people think when they meditate on the mystery of evil. I believe it is part of the contemplative vocation to trace evil to discoverable roots and find out, how do we deal with this effectively? When someone proposes actually getting rid of the evil, people either laugh or grow stiff and resistant. They remind you that evil, like the poor, will always be with us. You can't change human nature. Or only God can destroy evil, and he will only do it in his own time. So the message is, don't try to remove evil, just punish it. This darkly stubborn view can be traced to the belief that evil is a kind of fundamental archetype in the furniture of human consciousness, and perhaps in the structure of being. Evil is there as a foil for good. Take evil away and everything would be thrown out of balance. Without it, how would we learn to value and have a distinct sense of the good? Without hell, how would the good people who are saved properly appreciate the fate they managed to avoid? How could people be tested to see if they deserved heaven unless they had a chance to do evil? And it wouldn't be a real test unless some of them actually did do at least some evil. How could you sort and classify people unless some were good and some were bad? How could there be any stories to tell or even fun things to do in real life unless there was big evil to overcome and little evil to do on the sly? I once polled some people in a study group with a question, which world would be better? One that was all good, or one with both good and evil in it? A surprising number of people thought that a world with evil in it would be better than one without. I asked these good religious people why they preferred a world with evil. And one woman kind of summed up what is probably the sense of many when she said that a world in which everyone was good would be blah. It makes you wonder what she thinks heaven will be like. Others debated how you could have any growth in such a world. How would you develop character? That reminds me of that old Peanuts comic strip in which Charlie Brown is asking Lucy, Why, life is so hard and full of adversity. She replies that adversity is good for you. It builds character. Charlie Brown then wants to know, what do we need character for? To which Lucy answers, but to cope with adversity. So anyway, we have some curious emotional attitudes toward evil. We're very interested in it and very attached to it. In fact, we build our lives around it to a great extent. Think of the unemployment that would result if everyone were good. There would be no need for police, military personnel, prisons, bill collectors, the FBI, the CIA, law courts, and above all, lawyers. And for that matter, what would the religions do? What would the preachers preach about? As the cannibals said, if we were to give up eating people, it would upset our whole internal economy. Joking aside, it is not helpful when people complain that explaining evil is tantamount to excusing it, as though searching for the social and psychological reasons for crime means the criminal is not responsible. If we are really interested in getting rid of evil, or at least in diminishing it, surely the first step is to try to understand its causes. This would be a more fruitful approach than expending all one's energies assigning blame or making a theology about it, or simply mourning and marveling over it. What matters is whether we can actually succeed in doing something about it. So as you go through your day, look out there at the world. How much of that do you think is good? How much is evil? What are you going to do about it? How are you going to understand it? What could you do, say, think, or project that might help and make a great day?